Okay, welcome back. So we had just taken the information they'd given us and we had drawn out a marginal costing statement in this manner in order to help us to answer the questions underneath. So for the rest of this video, we're going to then answer part A and part B of this 1999 question 8 from the Leaving Cert. So the first part is you're required to calculate the company's break-even point and margin of safety. So part A, break-even point first. And for the break-even point and margin of safety, you will need to learn a formula basically for calculating both of these things. Now, what you're calculating when you're calculating the break-even point is you're going to calculate the number of units that you would need to sell in order to break even. And what we mean by break even is to get a net profit of 0. So in other words, when your sales revenue is exactly equal to your costs, all of your costs, so that when you subtract your cost from your sales revenue, you get a net profit of 0. So it means you're not making a profit, but you're not making a loss either. So you're breaking even. So the formula to work out the break-even point in units is it's the equal to the fixed costs divided by the contribution per unit. So CPU for short, but for now I'll put in the full contribution per unit. Okay, so in this case, the fixed costs in total are 254,000 euros. So 254,000 divided by the contribution per unit. So not the contribution in total, but the contribution per unit. So it's €4.80. And that'll give us a value when we divide the 254,000 by 480. Let me get my calculator here. Divided by 480 gives us a figure of 52,916.6 repeating. So we always round that off to the nearest unit. So 52,916, 916.6, so 917 units. So we always put in our unit of measure, which in this case is units, and we round off to the nearest unit. But what we do is we don't round mathematically to the nearest unit. We always, in this case, when we're calculating the break-even point, we always round up. So for instance, if I just do a bit of scrap up here, if that had worked out to be 52,917.001, we would then round that off to 52,918. So it doesn't matter. We don't round mathematically. Mathematically, we would just round that to 52,917. But in this particular question, we always round up for break-even point. So that'd be 52,918. So in this case, 52,917 units. Excuse me. So the idea is what you have found is the number of units you would have to sell at this selling price with these given cost structures in order to have a 0 profit, not to make any profit, but not to make a loss either. Okay? And they don't usually ask this. In fact, in this question, what they asked was to find the break-even point. They didn't specify in euros or in units. And when they don't specify, we can take it they mean in units. But if they happen to, at some stage, ask for what's the answer in euros, in other words, what level of sales would this company have to do in order to break even? What sales revenue would they have to make in euros? All we would have to do is take this 52,917 and multiply it by 11 euros per unit, because that's how much they'll get for each unit they sell. So if we multiply the 52,917 by 11, we would get the break-even point in euros, in money terms. Okay, that's the first part. Then the next thing was the margin of safety. So the margin of safety, again, this is a formula that you'll have to learn off for this question. and it's equal to the budgeted sales minus the break-even point. So if you like, for shorthand, sales minus break-even point. Okay, and in this